Satchidanandam Paramasukatam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyaadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Satchibhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadguram Tam Namami. Nithyanandam. We welcome all the Sri Mahants, Kotaris, Tanedars, Balasanths, visitors and viewers for this Vaakyartha Sadhas conducted by Balasanths of Nithyananda Gurukul. Today's topic for Vaakyartha Sadhas is what is status quo and what is state quo. And now we will be chanting the 16th verse of the Ishavasya Upanishad.
Pushanne karshe yamasurya prajapatyavyo harashmin samohate joyatte rupam kalyanatamam tatye pashyami yosavaso purushassohamasmi.
Swamiji told, when your taste gets matured, you become a seeker. What does it actually mean?
What I feel is what Swamiji meant by saying that when your taste gets matured, you start becoming a seeker. It's like when you start evolving to the higher cognitions, like when you start realizing that things around you, are not actually what we're seeking for. It's not why we're here for. We are here for enlightenment and realizing ourselves as a consciousness. Like this, when you start maturing your cognition, is what I feel is what Swamiji meant by saying, when your taste matures, you become a seeker.
What I feel is what Swamiji meant by your taste maturing is, see, for example, now currently you might have your inner image as you're useless, you're living dead, and all kinds of incompletions on you. So what I feel is, when you feel that the negative inner images, the image what you have, when it is negative completely and not anyway expanding you, that is where we are all. But when the maturity happens for us, then our taste also becomes mature. What we understand as pain and pleasure will also get matured. So what I feel is, when our inner image evolves, authentically the surrounding.
What I feel as Swamiji meant by your taste gets matured is, like when we first feel that money or this wealth or health, something like that, is something very nice, very fulfilling, and we enjoy that. And then after some time we understand that doesn't give us fulfillment, and we go to something higher like knowledge and all that. And after going through so many things and understanding that they don't give any fulfillment, then finally understanding that only consciousness and being in the space of Shivoham can give them the fulfillment. I feel that's what Swamiji meant by your taste gets matured, and that time you become a seeker.
What I feel is, like when Swamiji said your taste getting matured, like how Swamiji said before, like the change being established in the change. Like life is continuously moving ahead and expanding itself to newer possibilities, and it is also showing you newer possibilities. So when you take those newer possibilities and continuously reinvent yourself and reinvent whatever bio-memory you might be carrying or whatever cognition you might be carrying, when you just reinvent all that and you start living your life continuously changing and reinventing yourself, that's what I feel when Swamiji said your taste getting matured, and that is when the seeking happens in you.
What I understood when Swamiji said status quo is just being stuck in the same thought current without seeking. State quo, he said, is like your state. Like when you decide to start seeking, like how we just discussed, your thought current, your cognition, everything just gets more and more mature, and you realize that Shivoham is the ultimate. But then in status quo, you're just stuck with the same thought current again and again and everything.
Adding to her point, what I also feel a status quo is, as Swamiji said, when you're like, if you have he told that he's not against us having confusion, but he's against us having the same confusion. When you have the same incompletions every day, day and night, and the same confusions every day, that is what Swamiji meant as status quo. Every time you should be like breaking one of the karma pattern and continuously reinventing yourself. That is where you move to the space of seeking and awaken the seeking inside you. But when you are stuck up with the same incompletions again and again, getting into the same problem again and again, that is status quo.
Just adding to a point, what I feel as status quo is like when you start running your life, with the same incompletions, without deciding to complete and break from those incompletions. When you run your life with the same incompletions in you, is what I feel is status quo.
What I feel is that, like what Swamiji told in the Karma webinar, where he told the Kaka Biryani, where the same recording is running in us again and again, where even if we hit somebody or somebody hits us or whatever we do, that same pattern and that same thing is running in us again and again. It may be in different forms, but it's running the same thing. The same incompletion is going on again and again. I feel that's what Swamiji meant by status quo.
What I feel is like when the mind takes over you and you just run with that incompletion throughout your life, and you're not able to keep the control of your life, and the incompletion just gets you stuck in your life and just takes over you completely, is what I feel as status quo.
But I have a question, like how in the Kathopanishad Satsang, Swamiji said every minute we're dying, every second like life is happening to us and we're dying and we're being reborn. So how can we even be in status quo? How can we be stuck with the same thought current if like we're being reborn every moment?
What I understood is, see, yes, there's every moment there's some part of you just leaving you, but at like the few thought currents which you are holding to, because you decided to hold on to it, that's why you are holding on to. So how many ever times life reminds us, we get stuck up with the same thought current again and again. We don't want to drop those thought currents. As Swamiji told, we feel so comfortable and will cherish the incompletions and thought currents which is inside us. And the other parts are being chiseled, though life is giving us, till the time the root shock in our life is given, we don't realize that we are in the same status quo. But only when the life gives us the root shock, we even understand, yes, we are wasting our life these many years, and now we have to stand up for our life by awakening our seeking. So what I feel is, because we decided to hold on to the thought currents, that is why we are still holding on to our karma patterns. Even now, if you just decide to drop it, it will be dropped and we'll awaken the seeking in us.
Just adding to a point, what I feel, like even though every moment death is constantly happening to us, we have a few vested interests in us, and we have those incompletions alone in us. We start getting so attached to our incompletions. Even though life starts giving us so many situations to tell these incompletions not going to help you, you're going to have to drop them, we are not ready to accept and drop these incompletions. Instead, we just hold on to them thinking they're going to give us some benefit. So this is what I feel like what Swamiji meant. Even though that the death is constantly happening to us, what I feel is we still hold on to a few incompletions due to our vested interest.
What I feel is like when we live in the status quo, we just hold on to few things where the thought current itself won't get destroyed. Maximum the thought pattern might just change and we might be thinking about something else but with the same incompletion. So what I feel is like when you live in that status quo, you'll be stuck in that incompletion, that the thought current won't be changing, but whenever you take a rebirth, that time the thought pattern can only change.
I have a question. What is state quo?
What I feel as state quo is when you are continuously established in the universal truth and moving towards the waking state, towards the awakening state, is what I feel as state quo.
Just adding to his point, what I feel as state quo is like when you start understanding the truth that you are the consciousness and start changing everything inside you, and anything which refuses to change, like just breaking the thought current and coming out of it. Anything which refuses to change inside you, even changing that with your ferociousness and coming into the space of the ultimate truth that is your the consciousness, is what I feel as state quo.
Adding a point, what I also feel is like how Swamiji said today, when we're in the waking state, we understand that our dreams are just immature and all that, and we want to live in the waking state because that's a more mature way of living. Same way, when we understand that the awakened state is much more mature and a higher way of living than the waking state, I feel we'll be in state qua.
I have a question. Today morning, Swamiji said that we mix up status quo with states quo. What did he mean by that?
What I feel is what Swamiji meant by saying sometimes he mixed up the status quo, the state quo, is like many a time we don't realize in a status quo just because daily we change the actions. You know, like today we might do some action and tomorrow we just do something different, but from the same incompletion. But when we don't understand this, we start mistaking, like replacing the actions as state quo. Just you'll start justifying to yourself that telling, no, see, yesterday I did this action, but today I haven't done that. I did something else, so I'm not in status quo. Like this, you start justifying yourself, but it's not status quo. It is not state quo. It is status quo. So this is what I feel like what Swamiji meant. Sometimes he mixes status quo and state quo.
What I understood when Swamiji said we mix up the status quo and state quo is, once in one of the satsangs, Swamiji is telling that earlier we used to beg with the balls and now we are begging in the internet. So what I understood is the thought current is still the same mentality of begging, but then we think our cognition is our perception has expanded and our cognition is matured and our the images are matured and we think that we are in the state quo. So what I feel is, though we are in the same thought current which is status quo, we just think as if we are mature. So what I feel is this is what Swamiji meant by at times we mix up the status quo and state quo.
What I feel is like because of the society around us, we start believing that the way we live, like the normal life we are living, is like the ultimate way of living, because the society around us gives us whatever freedom we want, but actually the society just puts us into more incompletion. But we start thinking that the society is giving us freedom, and instead of thinking that we are living in the status quo, we think that we live in the state quo.
What I feel is we can move from status quo to state quo by deciding to be, like a Kala for yourself. Any incompletion inside you which refuses to change or break, just breaking it and understanding that you're the consciousness is what I feel, like you can move from status quo to state quo.
What I feel is that, like what Swamiji told us, when you are unable to break the karma pattern and all that, the same incompletion is running in you again and again. That time use your ferociousness to break that karma pattern. If you are still unable to break it by your ferociousness, then use the master's ferociousness and break your karma pattern. So what I feel is we can move from status quo to state quo just by being with Swamiji and going for the Varanasi inner awakening or any inner awakening with Swamiji, so that we can move from status quo to state quo by his ferociousness.
What I feel is a dream state is like all the incompletions or the aspirations which haven't been fulfilled in our life until now. When we go to bed or try to sleep, that time in the dream state, all those incompletions and all our wants start manifesting. So for example, we always wanted a Ferrari or a very nice car. When you're in the sleep dreaming, what I feel is you'll start dreaming about cars, you'll think that you have a very nice car. But what I feel is at that point you must always know that the whole dream is set up. The only reality is the awakened state.
I have a question about what Ma Satyamaya said. She said that deep sleep state is unconscious, but isn't it really conscious? Because only if we are really in the higher level of consciousness and in a deep state of completion that we can have deep sleep.
But I have a question on what you told. Like you said, in deep sleep state we are conscious and we are complete. How can, when you are conscious and complete, you should be fully awakened, right? Because you have understood and you are awakened yourself. So isn't it that the awakened state is the state of consciousness and completion?
What I feel is like what Sharon has said, because see, the deep sleep state, you're completely, you have nothing, like no incompletions, like dreams come up, you're just with yourself, resting with yourself, so there'll be no incompletions coming up or anything. So I feel deep sleep state is like you being like the completion space in you.
Just adding to a point, what I feel is when we are in the deep sleep state, we are like completely complete with ourselves and everything around us. But when we start moving towards the awakened state, not only are we complete with ourselves, we start making everybody complete with everything. So this is what I feel as the difference between both.
What I feel is when you're in the state square, we are moving from waking state to awakened state, because that is the time you're awakening or seeking, right, as Swamiji said. So that is what I feel is like awakening is seeking, where you move from waking state to awakened state.
What I feel is like when you're in the state qua means you're continuously established in the truth and continuously seeking. So when you're seeking, you're moving from the waking state to the awakened state, because that is the time when your cognition gets settled and you start moving that towards the higher consciousness, which is enlightenment.
Just adding to his point, what I feel is when you're in the state qua, any stage we may be in, like whether we're in the dream state or waking state, any stage we are in, we'll start constantly expanding. We know, like we'll start completing with everything around us, and we'll constantly be in the space of seeking. So ultimately, when in the state qua, we'll go to the space of awakened state.
I have a question on what Mitra just said. He told when we're in the state qua, all the four states will be only aligned to seeking, right? So, but then Swamiji once said, when you're completely complete, you will not have any dream. So, does that mean when you're in the state qua, you will not have the dream state in you?
What I feel is that when you are in the state qua, there will not be the dream state, because like what Swamiji once told us, when you are having dream, it's basically the incompletion which is coming up in you at that moment. So when you are in state qua, there is no incompletion which can hold on to you. After once it happens, you will just complete and you'll move on, because state qua is a space of reinventing yourself basically. So what I feel is there will be no dream state in that.
Just adding a point, what I also feel is there won't be any dream state, because in state cover we're continuously breaking our old thought patterns again and again. Like how today Swamiji defined completion as breaking your lower images and building up new higher ones. So as you break up the old thought currents, you'll just be more and more complete. So what I feel, that dream state itself won't be there. You'll just be in the space of deep sleep.
I have one question. What is higher taste, lower taste?
What I feel as lower taste and higher taste is, see your inner image as of now, it might be like very down, like the example which Swamiji gave, like for example, you feel your purpose of life is wealth, that might be a pleasure, but then when it gets a little more matured, you will feel it's health, then you will feel it as something else. So what I feel is, continuously when you feel something which is not expanding you, that will be the lower taste. But when the cognition in us gets matured, when the taste gets matured, we will have a higher purpose of life, like enlightenment, where you can continuously awaken the seeking in you and move towards the enlightened space. So what I feel is, that is the higher taste and this is the lower taste. It basically depends upon the pain and pleasure you have about your life.
What I feel is like how Swamiji told today in the story of Markandeya, when Yama came to take him away, that time he just held on to the Shivalinga and Shiva appeared and liberated him. So for a person living with a lower taste, he'll just be like, what he'll learn from the story is, when death is coming to me, I'll just hold on to one Shivalinga. Shiva will come out and just kick Yama away, and he'll take me and let me live for how much ever I want. So that's how a normal, like a lower taste person will be cognizing it. But when a person is living in the higher state, he'll just be like, he'll be learning from the story that at the time of death I should just be established in the state of Mahadeva, and Mahadeva will just appear and he'll just liberate me from Yama. So what I feel is, like, it's just two levels of cognition, the way you cognize everything. If you cognize it from the space of like seeking and enlightenment and all that, that time it will be in a higher taste. But when you cognize it just like a lower level cognition, then it will be in a lower taste.
What I also feel is like in one story where one sage, one sadhu in the Madurai area, he once the kingdom got invaded, and that sadhu every day used to go and apply sandalwood paste for Mahadeva in the Garbha Mandir. So when the king invaded and the sultan invaded, and he told that no more Shiva worship and all that, stop all these things. But still this sadhu was still continuing his service and all that, still buying sandalwood and still grinding it and putting for Shivalinga. So when the king got to know, he told, stop the selling of sandalwood here itself. Then when he stopped selling sandalwood, then the sage thought, this hand has grinded the sandalwood every day for Mahadeva, then why not use this hand itself as a sandalwood paste for Mahadeva? And he started grinding his own hand for Mahadeva. Then after some time, Mahadeva came and gave him darshan and blessed him, healed him and told, don't worry, this king will soon die, don't bother, and then you will become the king of Madurai, means run it properly, he told. And he blessed the sage. Then after the few days, the king died, and there was no son to the king, so they did not know who to put as the next king. So they led the royal elephant to go and search and put the flower garland on the next king. So the elephant goes and puts it on the hermit. So then this hermit, he becomes the king, and even when he becomes the king, he was so much in this higher taste of just love for Mahadeva, that even when he sat on the throne, he did not wear any crown and all that glittering dress and all that, but he just wore vibhuti, rudraksh and the kavi clothes, and he sat on the throne and he told, let us spread Saivism everywhere. So what I feel is, even though if you are sitting on the throne and if you have the higher taste, then naturally you will not be connected to all that, you will only be thinking about Mahadeva. And if you have the lower taste, you will be, even if you are sitting as a sage, you will be thinking about all the other.
I have a question. In one satsang, Swamiji said the I is carved out of the mind. But then, how does our inner image depend on the tastes we have?
What I feel is, only based on what level of cognition you are, what you feel is ultimate, only based on that you start setting your inner image. For example, if you feel that health is the ultimate which you have to achieve and you still have not achieved it, you start setting an inner image of, oh, I'm not yet healthy, I'm not so healthy as everybody else, I have to still become more healthy. So you'll start setting up an inner image of you're not so healthy. But if you think that the consciousness is ultimate, what I feel is you start setting up a inner image of I am the consciousness, which naturally will give you a higher taste, which is from a higher taste. So this is how I feel your taste decides what inner image you set.
But then suppose we have the inner image that we are Shiva, then we know that nothing else can be added to us or taken away from us. So that we won't have any other tastes or aspirations. So that way it depends on our inner image, right? How does it depend on our taste?
What I feel is that it depends on the mind. Like if now you feel that incompletions and the space of status quo is what you really want, you want to be incomplete, you want to suffer, you want to go through the same incompletion again and again and again every day, get angry at the same person every day, then naturally what you will feel about yourself is that I am a very angry, I am a very low person, very suffering person. But if you have completion and status quo as your highest, as your taste, where you feel that only completion, only being like Mahadeva, only being like consciousness is what I want, then naturally what you feel about yourself will also change, because you have understood that nothing else is mattering, only Mahadeva is mattering. So what you want at that time, what you feel as yours is only will decide what is going to become you.
I have a question on what Moksha Maharaj said. How can it be like what is yours can decide what it is? Because see, few days ago Swamiji was telling about the perishable, right? So he was telling that anything, if you feel that you are perishable and you have the inner image as perishable and everything, obviously life will present you that only, and you will get incomplete at that point when life gives you. So how come when the life gives you only at that point you feel perishable? Because past times your past actions and thoughts were based on perishable. That is why life even gave you the situation which is perishable. So is it from I the mind comes? Why is it from the mind I comes?
What I feel is, only based upon the things you have or things you identify as yours, you start putting a limit to who you are. Supposing you have a few things which you think are very precious, you start thinking that, oh, I am very rich, I see I have all these very precious things. So this is how we feel, only based on the mind. Whichever you think is yours, you start building up the I, who you are.
But then I still don't understand, because what you feel about you, that is what you attract, right? If you feel you're perishable and you're incomplete, you're useless, obviously you attract a situation where people are continuously telling you the same thing, and things go wrong in wrong way, continuously telling you about the same thing. But if you feel your consciousness and you're imperishable, obviously that situations only will be presented to you, right?
What I feel is that we are on to be evolved to such a high level where if something else is presented to us, like now if you're having completion, and if you suddenly go to the outer world and go to some bad places and all that where they don't carry completion, we are all on to be so strong enough that we can hold on to that space for a long time. Because of that area around us, we will also get pulled down. So what I feel is that till we evolve to the level of Swamiji, where anything happens around him, he's still having that high space of consciousness in him. But till we evolve there, whatever is happening around us only decides what will become. Like if now we go outside and we join all the wrong things and do all the wrong things, then naturally we will be pulled from the space of completion, and we will think that we are only the outer world, we are just having incompletions and all that.
I have a question. Is it that if you are in status quo, will the I and my be same?
What I feel is yes, because in status quo, we are constantly stuck up with one incompletion. So naturally, when we are stuck up with this one incompletion, we start associating everything around us, with us. Whatever belongs to us, we start thinking that is you. Instead of thinking that we are the consciousness and cognizing this, we'll get into the cognition of that, oh, whatever I own is what defines me. If I have this much of special precious items, I'm a very rich person. Like this, based on your few incompletions which you are stuck with, you start defining you. So this is why I feel that when you are stuck in the status quo, your I and mine are same.
What I feel is like when you're stuck with the incompletion, you won't be yourself. You will just be wanting something else to prove that you're something else. So like you will just be trying to get something to entertain you, or you'll just be trying to get something towards you so you can show everyone that you're complete or living a happy life. But actually the truth is that you're living in the same incompletion, and you're living in the status quo. So what I feel is like because you're living the status quo and you're just stuck with that one incompletion, you try associating yourself with whatever is there around you and telling that that is mine. So when you start saying that that is mine, you think that you can get a better outer image or anything.
What I feel is that when you are in status quo, basically you are just stuck, you are like being same with that one thing. You will not even understand that there's something else in life, something better in life called completion, which can make you just eternally fulfilled, and you'll just be stuck with that same incompletion or that same pattern again and again. So when you're stuck with that same thing, you will naturally feel yourself as only that. You will feel yourself, if you feel only wealth, I'm so poor and I don't have any money, then naturally that you will only feel about yourself like that. You will not know there's some other possibility in yourself. So what I feel is that I and mine will be same where in status quo.
I have a question. How is having a high inner image important in life? What I feel is like how we just discussed, whatever inner image you have about yourself, that's what you'll attract around you. Suppose you think you're powerful and all that inside, then obviously the situations around you will also align to that. But if you have some low inner image about you, then obviously there'll be like a mess around you. So everything around you, and even like how much you're transforming and all that, depends on the inner image you have about you.
And what I also feel is that, see, whenever you're, if even the people around you and the life around you gives you a situation where you have to really stand up and everything continuously, when the bad, so-called bad situations are given to you, if your inner image is strong, you will not be affected by anything. Like how Swamiji said, though anything outside, we cannot be violated because we are part of everything. So when your inner image is really strong and the best inner image, what I feel is you can attract things which will expand you again, and whatever happens out will not affect you, and you'll be able to stand up for everything happening around you.
What I feel is like the identity which you have about yourself can just alter your entire life. Like how Swamiji told today, if you just have the inner image of just moving towards the consciousness more and more, then we'll just be in seeking throughout our life. And Swamiji told seeking is the greatest thing that anyone can have in our life. So just by changing our inner image which we carry about ourselves, we can just change our whole life.
Just adding to his point, what I feel is, because only based on all of our inner images do we take decisions. Just like how Swamiji told, only based on the concept you have about yourself, you set the context for your life. So this is how I feel the inner image about yourself which you have is very important.
Today Swamiji said that the best gift you can get from him is the best inner image. So how do you get the best inner image?
What I feel as the best way to get Swamiji's inner image in you is just to attend the Andaman's 1008 Nithyanandoham Inner Awakening, where Swamiji will be awakening his possibilities inside you. So what I feel is all of us have to be there in Andaman so that all of us can experience, seeking and awaken Swamiji's possibilities inside us.
And what I also feel is, as Swamiji said, last year in Cambodia, he awakened our possibilities to us, which is Shivaham, and this time he'll be awakening his own possibilities in us. And the first thing he's going to do is pouring his own seeking into us. So what I feel is that's the best way you can have the best inner image and receive the greatest gift of the best inner image. So what I feel is, by being there in Nithyanandoham, we can receive the best inner image. With this, we come to the conclusion of today's Vaakyartha Sadhas. We will explore into more deeper truths in further Vaakyartha Sadhas. Now we will conclude with the Purna Mantra. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamataya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Tat Sat Sarvam Sadguru Padukarpanamastu. Om Nithyanandam.